Florida's Instagram version versus its grocery store parking lot in August version are two very different places. I learned this 25 years ago when my kids groaned about going to Disney again. When my family moved to Orlando, we wanted our daily life to feel like a permanent vacation. But we quickly realized something. Trying to live in vacation mode 24/7 is incredibly expensive and impractical. That Disney moment, that's when I knew we'd overdone it. But we were the lucky ones. We figured it out. After helping so many other families relocate here, I've noticed a lot of people don't. About 40% of people who move to Florida end up regretting it. And it usually comes down to one big reason. Stick with me because if you're thinking about moving here in 2026, this might save you thousands of dollars, months of frustration, and a whole lot of regret. I'm not going to scare you away. My job is to make sure you know the real Florida, not the brochure version. Because if you decide to move here after hearing the truth, you'll be one of the people who actually thrive here, not one of the people quietly realizing they made a huge mistake. And in a minute, I'm going to share the number one thing people wish they knew before they signed their first Florida lease or mortgage. But first, we need to talk about the thing that hits people the fastest. Here's the first Florida punch in the gut new residents feel. The insurance shock comes in waves. First, your car insurance doubles. I had a client move here from Ohio. Back home, they paid $1,600 a year for 2 cars. In Florida, that same coverage was $3,400. That wasn't a mistake. Florida consistently ranks number 2 in the entire nation for most expensive car insurance, right behind Louisiana. Why? 2 reasons. 1, we have a lot of accidents. But 2, uninsured drivers. Statistically, 1 in every 4 drivers on the road next to you in Florida has no insurance. None. Which means you have to pay extra to protect yourself from them. Then you see the homeowner's quote, and that's when reality really sets in. The national average for home insurance is around $2,200 a year. In Florida, the average is closer to $6,000. And if you're near the coast, you're easily looking at $10,000 to $15,000 a year. But here's the stat that explains everything. Florida only has 9% of the country's insurance claims, but we have 79% of the country's insurance lawsuits. That litigation cost gets passed right on to you. So when you see your premium go up in 2026, you're not just paying for wind damage, you're paying for everyone else's lawyers. Then, and this is the one that breaks people, you realize that HOA fees aren't optional extras. They're a second rent payment. So many people move into a beautiful manicured community without realizing they've locked themselves into monthly fees that can rival a car payment. I watched a family move here last year who didn't realize how much the HOA bill would feel like throwing money down the drain. Every month, watching hundreds of dollars leave their account for amenities they barely used. Their budget got blown right out of the gate. When people tell me they regret moving, this is usually their first reason. We didn't realize the sunshine tax would cost us thousands of dollars every month. But this next one is the reason people start questioning whether Florida fits their lifestyle at all. This is the one nobody warns you about. New residents arrive thinking this is going to feel like a vacation forever. But the permanent vacation mindset lasts about a week, maybe 2. Because here's the truth. Florida is incredible if you can handle Florida. First, the heat. It isn't just hot. It's open your front door and feel like you're walking into a sauna hot. For half the year, it's like living in someone else's armpit. Then there's the traffic. If you're looking at Central Florida, there's a running joke you need to accept immediately. Orlando is about an hour away from Orlando. It doesn't matter if you're going 10 miles or 30 miles. It doesn't matter what the GPS says when you leave the driveway. Between the I-4 eyesore, the construction that never ends, and tourists crossing 3 lanes trying to find the Magic Kingdom, Just block an hour to get anywhere all the time. You'll make peace with the idea that a quick trip to the store is a committed relationship. And if it's raining, add another 20 minutes, which it will every day around 3 p.m. And working in Florida while everyone else seems to be floating in a pool on a Tuesday afternoon, that hits harder than they expect. Suddenly, the fantasy of finally living where people vacation becomes something else. Why do I live where everyone else is on vacation except me? But here's something nobody tells you that might be the most important thing I say in this entire video. Florida friendships hit different. There's a transient nature here. People come, people go. People stay for a few years, they get what they want, and they move again. If you're someone who values deep roots and long-term friendships, Florida can feel lonely at first. I've watched families come here excited for community only to realize they have to build it from scratch. It doesn't just appear the moment you unpack. But here's the part nobody expects. If you do put in that effort, Florida friendships end up being some of the strongest you'll ever have. Because everyone here had to rebuild their life too. Everyone here knows what it's like to start over. That shared vulnerability creates connection you can't find in your hometown. It's powerful, but it takes time. All right, now let's talk about the most common reason people regret moving here. Remember how I said 40% of people regret it? Here's what we've learned over 25 years. People who move here for a feeling leave. People who move here for structure, taxes, space, schools, business climate, they stay. The sunshine is the bonus, not the strategy. I had clients move from Chicago last year. They didn't come for beaches. They came because they did the math. Between state income tax, property tax, and heating costs, Florida saved them $18,000 a year. The beach was just a really nice side effect. They're thriving. Florida is not a vacation. Florida is a lifestyle choice, and a very specific one. If you're outdoorsy, love sunshine, want entertainment everywhere, and want a low-tax state, Florida might be your dream. But if you move here thinking every day will feel like a beach commercial, you're going to be let down, and you'll start thinking about moving again in 12 to 18 months. Here's the truth. You shouldn't move to Florida because it looks fun. You should move to Florida because your life works better here. And if after everything I just said, you're still watching, that probably means you're the kind of person who will thrive here. Because the people who do well in Florida are the ones who walked in with realistic expectations. They knew what they were signing up for, and they built their life intentionally. Before you go, look on your screen right now for the QR code. That's going to take you to something I put together called the Sunshine State Handbook. It's free, and it's what I wish every new Florida resident had before they made a single decision. Inside, I break down how to choose the right city based on your lifestyle, what to look for in HOAs and CDD fees, insurance traps to avoid, and a hurricane prep checklist. Think of it as your Florida survival guide. So if you're thinking about Florida in 2026, scan the QR code now or grab it from the link below. So here's my challenge. If after hearing all of this, you're still interested, that's your signal. The people who thrive here are the ones who walk in with eyes wide open. Let's make sure you're one of them. If this helped you see the real Florida, not the fantasy, hit that like button so more people can make the smart decision in 2026. And subscribe because I make videos like this and Florida market updates every week. Florida isn't for everyone, but if it's for you, let's make it work. This has been the Florida Real Estate Insider, and I'm still Tom McNamara. See you in the next one.